예, 반갑습니다. hello, Mr. Thomas. Okay, hello, Carolina.
Hi, Mr. Rio. So nice to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure to see you here. Or
Thank
is
you.
from Costa
Waiting for
Rica.
you here in Costa Rica.
Yeah, I want to be there soon. Okay, 오늘은 마지막 그 비디오 스트리밍 날입니다.
So today, unfortunately, will be the last video streaming session.
오늘은 국제대회에서 마지막 과제에 대해서 간단하게 우리 그 한국의 국가대표 선수가 시연을 하고, 그리고 또 우리 코스타리카의 미스터 아브람과 또 우리 토마스, 우리 SCM 토마스가 발표를 할 텐데요. 뭐 훈련에 대해서라든지 기타 이제 웹 테크놀로지 직종을 어떻게 준비할지에 대한 그런 얘기를 하게 될 거고요.
So today, our Korean competitor will cover how he works on the last test project of 2019. And we expect that Mr. Abraham and Mr. Thomas will have a presentation about how they did their training of their competitors and etc.
그리고 이 불행하게도 오늘 미스터 마르셀로 우리 이 심사장 치프 익스퍼트가 참가해서 발표를 하기로 했는데 굉장히 또 그 급하게 바쁜 일이 있어서 아마 오늘은 참여 못할 것 같습니다.
And it was scheduled today that Mr. Marcelo will have a short presentation today, but unfortunately, due to his busy schedule, he couldn't participate today.
그러면은 먼저 오늘 제가 잠시 화면을 공유해서 오늘 시연할 내용들 설명을 좀 드리겠습니다.
So I will start a brief presentation about introducing today's project.
오늘 오늘은 디자인과 프론트엔드 과제에 대해서 우리 그 시연고 우리 한국 국가대표가 간단 한 20분에서 30분 정도 시연을 하겠습니다.
So today about the front-end design, our competitor, Mr. Ko Shi-hyun, will present about 20 or 30 minutes.
그리고 잠시만요. 예. 그래서 오늘 시연할 그 과제는 저희 비디오 중에서 마지막 3개에 해당하는 내용입니다.
So the final 3 videos of our 12 videos are today's topic.
그래서 우선 이제 국가대표 선수가 간단히 시연을 하고 그리고 몇몇 분들의 그 프레젠테이션이 있고 질의응답을 가지고 오늘 과정을 마치도록 하겠습니다. Do you hear the interpreter's voice sound?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Now we will start demonstration from Mr. Xionggo. Can you start?
잘 보이시나요?
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. 안녕하세요. 저는 이번 상하이 대회 한국 국가대표인 고시현이라고 합니다.
Hello, my name is Ko Shi-hyun. I'm the Korean competitor for the 2022 Shanghai game.
이번 미팅에서 할 내용은 하지만 대회 때 나온 디자인 프론트엔드 과제를 간단히 시연하도록 하겠습니다.
And today I would like to demonstrate how I worked on the design front ends of Kazan test project.
우선 프론트엔드 과제는 카잔 여행 정보를 프레젠테이션으로 만들고 보여주는 웹 어플리케이션을 만드는 과제예요.
So the test project is about to develop web application that shows Kazan travel information.
해당 프론트엔드 과제는 해당 웹 어플리케이션을 프로토타입으로 만드는 과제여서 서버 프로그래밍은 필요가 없어요.
And there will be no server programming since we will only develop the prototype of the web application.
그리고 디자인 과제는 그 만든 웹 어플리케이션을 홍보하는 마케팅 페이지를 디자인하는 과제였습니다.
And the design test project was about creating a marketing web page for the publication of web application.
그래서 오늘 할 내용은 그 프론트엔드 모듈에서 앞부분만 간단히 프로그래밍 해보도록 하겠습니다.
And today I will demonstrate the first part of developing front-end.
그래서 해당 프레젠테이션에 사용할 엘레멘트를 만들고
괜찮을 것 같아. 아니 그리고 오늘 참가자가 장난 아닌데?
차장님 마이크 좀 꺼주십시오.
해당 프레젠테이션에 사용할 그 엘레멘트를 만들고
This is to create an elements for the project.
그리고 해당 엘리먼트를 그 연결된 엘리먼트로 그러니까 해당 엘리먼트에서 연결된 새로운 엘리먼트를 계속 생성할 수 있는 기능을 만들 거고
And to add a function that creates another element that is connected from the original element.
그리고 해당 엘리먼트들을 삭제하는 것까지 해보도록 하겠습니다.
And to delete an element.
그러면 소스로 가보면
Now let's get to the source code.
우선 기본으로 사용할 레이아웃은 제가 미리 만들어 놨어요.
I already created the basic layout.
이 레이아웃을 원래는 대회에서 이 레이아웃을 만들어야 되지만 일단은 제가 만들어진 거를 사용할 거고요.
Even though in actual games you will be required to develop this by yourself, but I will adopt the already created version here on this session.
그래서 이 만들어진 레이아웃을 이용하여 시작해 보도록 하겠습니다.
So let's begin.
우선 보면 그 엘리먼트들이 있고
You can see the element classes.
그 엘리먼트를 연결할 수 있는 링크들이 우선 준비가 되어 있습니다.
And there are links prepared as well to connect the elements.
이거를 이용해서 과제를 시작해 보겠습니다.
With this, I'll start developing.
우선 이미 존재하는 엘리먼트랑 링크는 주석으로 만들어서 일단 안 보이게 하겠습니다.
You can put already created elements as comments so that you will not see in the source code.
처음에 할 내용은 화면의 정중앙에 해당 엘리먼트를 일단 처음에 생성하는 걸 우선 구현하겠습니다.
Now you need to create an element in the middle of the screen.
그래서 제가 뷰로 main.js의 뷰 인스턴스를 구현을 해놨어요.
I created a view instance.
이게 화면 가운데에 엘리먼트를 생성하기 위해 엘리먼트를 생성하는 메소드를 일단 만들겠습니다.
Now I will create a method so that elements will be located in the center of the screen.
그리고 해당 엘리먼트를 저장할 변수를 만들겠습니다.
And this is a variable to store the elements.
해당 엘리먼트 배열 안에 이제 생성된 엘리먼트들이 들어가도록 안에 create element 메소드를 구현하겠습니다.
And develop create elements method so that the elements will be in the array.
해당 엘리먼트가 가져야 될 값들은 id를 가져야 하고요.
And the values are ID.
그리고 화면상의 위치를 나타낼 수 있는 XY 좌표를 가져야 합니다.
And XY coordinates to assign to show the position of the elements in the website.
해당 XY 좌표는 파라미터로 받아볼 거고
Take X and Y as parameters.
과제를 보면 이렇게 엘리먼트 안에 노드가 4개가 있어요.
And TP suggests that there should be 4 nodes in the elements.
해당 노드도 구현하기 위해 노드스라는 배열을 만들겠습니다.
Make an array named nodes to store the 4 nodes.
이렇게 만든 엘리먼트를 아까 생성한 엘리먼트 배열 안에 이렇게 넣어주면 됩니다.
Push the elements to the created array.
그래서 화면에 시작을 할 때, 앱이 시작을 할 때, 저 함수를 호출을 해야 하니까
Now you need to call in the function when the app is started.
created라는 뷰 라이프 사이클 후에
So in created,
해당 엘리먼트, 해당 메소드를 실행시켜 줍니다.
run the following methods.
화면 정중앙에 가기 위해 윈도우 이너 위스랑 이너 헤이트를 이용하여
A window inner width and inner heights will make sure that the element is located in the center.
이렇게 해서 해당 너비에 절반 정도 되는 값을 넣어줘서 화면 중앙에 위치하도록 하겠습니다.
So put half of the total width and height as well.
이렇게 해서 일단 콘솔 로그로 해당 엘리먼트가 잘 들어가는지 확인해 보도록 하겠습니다.
I use console log to see if elements are incorrect. 선수님, 그 질문 있었는데 왜 id가 그 date.now 그 함수를 갖고 있는지 질문을 하시네요.
이거는 일단 랜덤 그 뷰에서 v4를 사용할 때 v4에서 사용될 키 값이거든요.
Miss Priscilla, that is because it is a key value for the v4 statements.
그래서 이렇게 중복되지 않게 하기 위해서 데이트 now를 넣었습니다.
So that there will be no same values. He adopted date now function. Does it make a good answer, Miss Priscilla?
To avoid duplicated ID.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now understood.
Thank you.
확인을 해보면 해당 엘리먼트가 잘 생성된 걸 볼 수 있습니다.
You can see that elements are created correctly.
They're different. Mhm.
건설 로그인 주석 처리하고 이제 해당 엘리먼트를 인덱스 HTML에서
And go to index.html.
사용자가 볼 수 있도록 렌더링 시켜 보겠습니다.
Render the elements so that the user will be able to see.
그래서 엘리먼트에 v4를 사용하여
Use v4 in the elements.
모두 보여줍니다. 그리고 이 스타일을 여기에 XY 값을 넣으면 돼요.
This is the XY value you see in the left and the top.
콜론을 붙여주고
Right colon.
새로 만들어서 해당 엘리먼트의 X 값을 앞에 픽셀 단위를 넣어서 입력해주고
That px added to the x value.
이 탑도 같이 엘리먼트의 Y
And do the same with elements y.
이렇게 해서 확인해보면 화면 중앙에 엘리먼트 같은 거를 볼 수가 있어요.
Now you can see the elements in the center of the page.
그리고 이제는 생성을 했으니까 이 노드를 클릭했을 때 새로운 엘리먼트도 생성을 해야 됩니다.
It should be able to create another elements when it's clicked, when the nodes are clicked.
그거를 구현하기 위해 소스로 가서 아까 미리 만들어놨던 그 노드 배열을 여기에 이렇게 사용하면 됩니다.
Adapts already created elements array, a node array, sorry.
엘리먼트 안에 생성했던 노드.
Put nodes in the elements.
클래스도 노드 아이디로 맞게 넣어주시고요.
And the class value should include node ID.
그리고 텍스트도 똑같이 노드 아이디로 넣습니다. 그리고 해당 노드들이 이제 잘 이렇게 잘 나오는데 이제 여기에 그 연결된 엘리먼트를 생성하는 메소드를 넣어보도록 하겠습니다.
Check if the nodes are visible correctly, and I will create a method to create the connected elements.
해당 노드를 클릭했을 때 create relation이라는 메소드를 실행시킬 거고
Once clicked, create relation method should be run.
그다음에 파라미터로 엘리먼트랑 노드를 일단 넣겠습니다.
And take elements and node as parameters.
main.js로 가서 해당 모습을 구현해 줍니다.
And adapt the written methods.
새롭게 생성할 때 해당 위치를 지정해 줘야 돼요.
And you need to designate the position of the element here.
그래서 그 노드의 그 클릭한 방향에 맞게 그 길게 늘어뜨고 이렇게 위에를 클릭하면 위에 생성되게 또 오른쪽 클릭하면 오른쪽에 생성되게 그런 식으로 클릭한 방향에 따라 엘리먼트가 생성돼야 돼요.
The elements should be created according to the clicked direction. 최현 선수 질문 하나 있었는데요.
네.
그 HTML 클래스 노드 아이디로 그 렌더할 수 있는 거 혹시 보여줄 수 있냐고 하는데 혹시 가능할까요?
클래스 노드 이거요.
렌더가 어떻게 그 웹사이트 안에 렌더가 어떻게 되는지 한번 보여줄 수 있냐고 하는데요.
그냥 이렇게 아까 제가 생성한
So now he's trying to answer your question, Ms. Priscilla.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
이렇게 노드 안에 들어간 아이디를 그대로 이렇게 렌더링 시켜서
Render the created IDs in the nodes.
이렇게 해당 아이디에 맞게 노드가 들어간 걸 볼 수 있어요.
You can see the nodes are imported according to the ID.
이어서 이 새로 생성된 엘리먼트의 그 위치를 지정을 해줘야 되기 때문에
And since you need to designate the position of the created elements, 선생님 혹시 이게 질문에 대한 답변일까요? 아니면 그냥 아까 그렇게 보여드렸고 지금 이어서 하는 걸까요? 죄송해요, 제가 잘 몰라서.
지금 이어서 하고 있어요.
질문 답변은 혹시 끝난 걸까요? 아니면
네.
이어서? 네. So that was the answer to your question, Ms. Priscilla. Was it okay, or maybe I interpreted wrong?
Yes,
was
I
it okay?
understood. It's because I saw two IDs, and I was thinking the ID who has the daytime now, but now it's the from the ray.
Oh, I see. Thank you very much for your question. So he will continue the demonstration. 네, 감사합니다. 진행해 주셔도 괜찮습니다.
그래서 방향에 맞게 좌표를 더해주고 빼기 위해서
To add and subtract the coordinates according to the position.
그러니까 현재 엘리먼트에서 x를 더하거나 빼거나 y를 더하거나 빼거나 할 거예요.
So this is to add or subtract x or y in the current position. So basically to move.
1번 노드를 클릭하면 위로 가야 되잖아요.
So when you click the first node, a new element should be in the side.
그래서 y를 마이너스 150 정도로 그냥 이거는 굳이 정해진 값이 아니니까 제가 그냥 임의대로 넣을게요.
So I will put 150. But this is not assigned. You can do whatever you want, basically.
그래서 그 나머지 다른 세 방향도
And I will add another three directions.
방향에 맞게 좌표 값들을 더해줍니다.
Add the values following according to the direction.
그래서 x는 포지션에 현재 클릭한 노드의 아이디에
X should be
값이고
position of the clicked ID, the ID of the clicked node plus
현재 엘리먼트 x 값을 이렇게 서로 더해주면 새로 생성될 엘리먼트의 x 값을 얻을 수 있어요.
so the new element you can see now is basically original X plus new X.
y도 똑같이 해주시고
And do the same with Y.
생성하면
Check X, Y as parameters.
지금은 리턴이 안 돼 있는데 아까 이 크레이트 엘리먼트 있잖아요.
Well, it's not returned at the moment, but
여기에 리턴을 다시 넣겠습니다.
return create elements.
여기에 리턴을 해서 엘리먼트를 가져오는 이유는 그 엘리먼트를 가져온 다음에 그 엘리먼트 안에 값들을 수정하기 쉽도록 그냥 리턴을 시켜주는 거예요.
The reason why I'm returning this is because so that it will be easy to adjust the values of the elements later.
일단 가보면 해당 방향을 클릭했을 때 해당 방향에 맞게 엘리먼트가 생성되는 걸 볼 수 있습니다.
And you can see now that the elements are created properly.
그리고 이제 이걸 생성을 하면 해당 엘리먼트가 연결을 시켜줘야 돼요.
And once it's created, new elements should be connected to the original elements.
해당 엘리먼트를 연결시켜주기 위해 아래 두 엘리먼트를 연결시켜주는 메소드를 만들겠습니다.
And now I will develop a method to link the new method, new element, and the original element.
첫 번째 엘리먼트의 엘리먼트와 노드를 받고요.
Take first element and first node as parameter.
그리고 두 번째 엘리먼트의 노드를 받아요.
And element 2 and not 2.
여기에서 링크를 연결시켜 줄 건데 만들기 전에 링크를 만들 수 있는 메소드를 만들어야 돼요.
And before actually creating the link, we need to develop a method to create the link.
아까 create 엘리먼트처럼 위에 그 엘리먼트 여기에 있는 엘리먼트처럼 아래 링크도 관리할 수 있는 링크 배열을 만들게요.
And so there should be an array for the links so that it can manage the elements and the links.
해당 링크를 create 엘리먼트처럼 create 링크로 해서 해당 링크를 만들도록 하겠습니다.
I will adapt a create link function.
여기도 똑같이 아이디를 중복되지 않게 하기 위해 데이트 나우를 할 거고
This is to avoid duplicated ID.
엘리먼트가 연결된 엘리먼트가 두 개니까 엘리먼트를 두 개를 넣겠습니다.
Since there's two elements that are connected, so we will adapt two elements as parameters here. As values here, sorry.
링크 배열 안에 링크를 푸시해서 넣어줍니다.
So to push the link into the links array.
생성된 링크를 리턴 시켜주고요.
Return created link.
다시 돌아가서 이 연결시켜주는 것을 구현해 보도록 하겠습니다.
Now we will develop the link itself.
링크를 생성해주고
Create a link.
해당 링크에 넘어온 값들을 여기에 순서에 여기 널이 돼 있는 값이 있잖아요. 여기에 다 넣어줄 거예요. 이 파라미터를.
And the null values should be imported to the direct element one.
해당 링크가 넘어오면 링크 엘리먼트에 이런 식으로
Adapt the elements this way. And node as well.
그래서 위에서 이제 이 메소드를 이용해서
Use this method to
연결시켜 보도록 하겠습니다.
connect the elements.
때 여기 넘어온 원래의 엘리먼트를 넣고요.
Put original elements and node as parameters.
여기는 새로 생성한 엘리먼트를 넣어줍니다.
And put new created element here as parameter.
근데 여기서 이제 하나 더 들어가야 되잖아요. new node라는 게 들어가야 되는데
And there should be new node.
해당 new node는 만약 2번을 클릭하면 new node는 4번이 돼야 돼요.
If node 2 was clicked on the original element, there should be a node named 4 in the new element.
그래서 그 반대의 숫자를 얻기 위해서 여기서도 위에 뭐 포지션처럼
To have the new number following according to the original clicked node, I will adapt this.
리버스라는 객체를 만들어 주겠습니다. 1번을 클릭했을 때는 3번이 나와야 되고 다른 것들도 다 반대 방향의 숫자가 나오도록 객체를 만들겠습니다.
This is to create, I'm sorry, a variable so that the following number, the new numbers will be shown accordingly.
노드는 이 엘리먼트에 노드에서 해당 노드 아이디가 리버스에
And the new ID, the new node ID values should be imported from the codes above.
이렇게 하면 새로 생성한 노드 중에서 그 반대 아이디인 노드를 가져올 수가 있어요.
This way you can bring in the reverse ID values. The following codes you see are from 40 to 43. You can adapt those values as ID with this code.
그래서 여기서 만약 생성을 하면 2를 클릭했을 때 이 3이 리버스 아이디가 되는 거예요.
So once you click nodes named 1, the reverse ID should be node 3.
이렇게 해서 여기에 올바른 값을 넣어줄 수 있습니다.
This way you can put proper codes and proper values.
올바른 값이 들어갔는지 한번 확인을 해 보시고
Check if correct values are adapted.
네, 엘리먼트 값이 잘 들어갔고요. 노드도 잘 들어갔습니다.
We can see that the values are adapted properly.
이제 또 이렇게 만든 링크들을 인덱스 HTML에서 렌더링 시켜보겠습니다.
Now we will render the links in the index.html.
위로 올라가서 패스를 복사해 줍니다.
Copy and paste the path.
그러니까 엘리먼트처럼 V4랑 키를 넣어주시고요.
Take v4 and key much like the elements.
그다음에 이 D 속성을 가지고 링크의 XY 좌표랑 그리고 그 어디까지 가야 되는지 XY 좌표를 설정을 해줄 겁니다.
The attribute will assign the XY coordinates according to the direction.
여기 앞에 있는 말은 그 처음 시작점의 XY 좌표고
This is the original XY coordinates.
이 뒤에 있는 말은 도착 위치에 대한 XY 좌표입니다.
And this is the new position.
엘리먼트의 X값 있고 뒤에도
Element
똑같이
one
Y로
you can put XY coordinates this way.
그리고 뒤에 있는 것도 여기는 엘리먼트 2의 대항 값을 넣어줍니다.
And L value should follow the values of element 2.
그래서 확인을 보시면 해당 링크가 이렇게 잘 생성되는 것을 볼 수 있습니다.
Now you can see the links are created properly, and you can refer to the attributes.
근데 이렇게 하면 문제점이 있는데요.
But there's a problem in this.
이렇게 이미 생성된 위치에서 그러니까 생성된 위치에서 엘리먼트가 계속 이렇게 생성이 되어버린 거예요.
That there's new element class in the position.
그래서 이거를 막기 위해
To prevent this,
JS로 와서 그래서 새로 생성할 때 여기 노드가 연결되어 있는지를 확인을 해볼 거예요.
So check if the nodes are connected.
확인을 하기 전에
Before that,
링크를 연결할 때 이렇게
this is to connect the link, to adapt the link.
노드 1의 링크 안에 해당 링크 아이디를 넣어줄 겁니다.
Link ID should be in the node 1 and 2.
노드 2에도 넣어주시고요. 이렇게 하면 위에서 if문으로 체크를 할 수 있어요.
This way you can see, you can adapt if statement to see if the values are correct.
해당 노드가 링크를 가지고 있는지를 확인한 다음에 링크를 가지고 있으면 리턴을 시켜주면 됩니다.
Check if node has a link and return if there is.
확인을 해보면 이 엘리먼트에서 처음 누르면 추가가 되지만 똑같은 곳에서 계속 클릭을 하면 이번에는 엘리먼트가 중복되면서 생성되지가 않아요.
Now you can see that elements are not created in a duplicated form.
이렇게 해서 연결된 엘리먼트도 생성할 수 있게 됐습니다.
Now you can properly adapt new elements, and you can properly create new elements with the link.
마지막으로 해당 엘리먼트를 삭제하는 코드를 만들어 볼 거예요.
Finally, we need to adapt a code to delete the elements.
인덱스 HTML 와서 해당 델리트 버튼에다가
In the delete button,
remove element라는 메소드를 만들겠습니다.
create a method called remove element.
네. 일단 remove element를 이용하겠습니다.
This is to adapt remove element function. Sorry, method.
엘리먼트를 삭제하기 전에 일단 우선 링크를 다 제거를 해줘야 돼요.
Before that, we need to get rid of all the links.
그래서 엘리먼트에 있는 노드들 다 반복을 시켜서 확인을 해줍니다.
Repeat the nodes to see.
만약 해당 노드가 링크를 가지고 있으면 해당
To see
링크를
if a
지울 수
link
있도록
has a node, and so that you can get, so that you can remove the link.
해당 링크를 링크스라는 배열 안에서 가져와요.
Get a link from the links array.
그래서 해당 노드들의 아이디와 해당 노드들의 그러니까 링크스에 있는 링크 아이디와 그리고 노드에 걸려 있는 링크를 비교해서 동일한 링크를 가져올 수 있습니다.
Compare two parameters to return a correct value.
그래서 이제 또 링크를 삭제해주는 메소드를 따로 만들 거예요.
There should be a new method to remove the link.
여기는 그 링크 객체를 받아서
Take link.
해당 링크에 걸려 있는 엘리먼트들의 노드 링크 아이디를 제거해주고
Get rid of the link of the node in the elements.
그다음에 링크 배열에서 그 위치를 가져와요.
And bring in
파인드 인덱스를 사용해서 해당 링크의 IDX를 인덱스를 가져와요.
bring in the index of the link using find index.
가져온 다음에 해당 배열에서 해당 IDX를 제거해주면 됩니다.
Get rid of the following IDX from the array. 선생님 잠깐 질문 있었는데요. So now we'll try to answer your question, Miss Priscilla. 질문 있었는데 find index 함수 혹시 설명해 줄 수 있는지.
파인드 인덱스는 이게 어레이의 파인드 함수랑 똑같아요. 똑같은데 파인드 함수는 그 해당 찾은 밸류가 나오는 거고 파인드 인덱스는 찾은 값의 인덱스가 나와요.
So, Ms. Priscilla, basically, it's much like the find function. It's just that a find function returns the value and find the index returns the index. Does it make a good explanation? Is it okay?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you for your question. 네, 감사합니다.
그다음에 링크를 다 지웠으면 이제 엘리먼트도 똑같이 지우겠습니다.
Now we need to remove elements as well.
이렇게 해서 지워주면
You can remove this way.
엔터 버튼을 눌렀을 때 해당 링크와 함께 깔끔하게 지워지는 것을 볼 수 있습니다.
You can see that the according elements are deleted when you press the delete button. You can see that it's properly adopted.
이상으로 이번 시연은 여기까지 하겠습니다. 너무 오래 걸려서 죄송합니다.
So that was the end of my demonstration, and I'm sorry for taking too long. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shihan. And thank you for everybody you hearing all this demonstration, especially Miss Priscilla. Thank you for your questions.
Yes. I remember that this project was so hard.
Yeah. You can ask Mr. Thomas to make test project a little easy.
Yes, thank you.
He's responsible for the making test project.
Wow.
Mr. David, this demonstration reminds you of test competition in Kazan, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think about this demonstration?
He makes his okay. It seems very easy with this demonstration, but it isn't.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can have something like how can I say coding concert similar this demonstration between competitors maybe. Okay. Now we have yeah, Mr. Abraham has something to present to all of you. Are you ready, Mr. Abraham?
Yes, Mr. Rio.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. You can share your screen.
All right. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes.
All right. I'm going to talk about the experience of our competitors in web technologies, at least so far, here in Costa Rica. A little introduction. My name is Abraham Quesada. I'm part of Costa Rica Web Technologies team. The first experience that we have in skills competition was back in 2012. Skills Costa Rica is part of INA. INA is National Institute of Learning here in Costa Rica. The first competition that we held was back in 2012, but back in the day, they were more focused on competition. There were really big events, a lot of people, a lot of skills, different skills compete. And we're very focused on medals and more things like that, but they were not really focused on international in work skills, technical description, or international standards. Some of the issues that we experienced back in the day, once again, was focused mostly on competition. There was no really feedback. Once the competitors are finished, they are out of the institution. We never seen them, never again. There were no clear process to training, and those training that were applied at the time were not based on technical description or international standards. And they don't really impact the teaching process of our institution here in INA. And that was really a big problem for us. Changes that we have to make. Number one was the Kickstart program with the help of our friends there in HRD Korea. The Kickstart program began, and then we received training in the development of technical skills competition, following international standards and world skills procedures. And number two, we need to make a new format for our national skill competition. They were focused on international standards, and we follow the world skills technical description in the creation of the text projects. Number three, we want to incorporate our competitors into our process. That way, the skills that they gather, the training they receive, don't just stay with them. You know, they can bring back something back to our institution. And number four was collect feedback and make improvements. I think this is the more important part. This how can make all these different process that we are making now can impact our curricula, or training program, and even the skills of our teachers, etc. These were our first results. In 2018, we have the first national skill competition, applying the knowledge that we acquired with our friends in HRD Korea. These are David, Emmanuel, and Leonardo. They were the first competitors to achieve gold, silver, and bronze medals. And we start with them. What we need to do? Well, we have a long road ahead. First, we receive an invitation for training in Korea in preparation for Kazan 2019. David here, he was selected to participate in Kazan 2018 that was held in Russia. After that, we make a different process like these training courses. They could share the knowledge that they gather in this training process. They could share that with other competitors or with other students in INA. And they also were part of the expert group for 2019 National Skill Competition. They helped us develop different activities for that. In 2019, the National Skill Competition were held in the San Carlos region in the North Costa Rica. And they They come from being competitors, and now they're part of the expert team. They help us make a lot of different activities. They help develop the text projects, and also they make the 30% changes in the competition. We are very grateful to them. What else? Well, during 2019, 2020, and this year, 21, they participate in different trainings, and also they were part of the base learn project with HRD Korea. Even in the even within the impact caused by the pandemic, we still inviting them to be part of our team, be part of the process. And what are they? Where are they now? All of them are working in big, important companies related to web development in Costa Rica. Right now, they're working mostly from home because of the pandemic. But the skills they gather in this process help them assure a good jobs opportunities, and they seem to be doing well. So how was the experience for them after all this? All of them agree that the process was really important to them. They helped them achieve better skills. They think that they're better professionals now, and they want to get back some of that back to INA, to Skills Costa Rica. And we are very pleased with the results so far. And what is in the future for us? Well, we are already working for a new generation of competitors. And we have different activities this year. For example, national competition in November, and also America's competition. And we are training now for 2022 Shanghai competition in China. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham. Perfect presentation. Hello, Miss Paulina.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I just clicked the like button on Instagram for you.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, you wear the great costume. Okay, about this presentation, I think, I guess, Mr. Roy, you have something more to comment.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rio, and thank you, Abraham, for this presentation. Actually, it was very excited to see the whole process. So how we start and where are we now? So thank you very much to HRD Korea, and thank you very much to Mr. Rio for the guidance, for the patience, and especially for inspiring us to grow. And I think that one of the greatest things that we improve is that we learn how to move from just an event like show with no connection with skill development, how to move from there to a process that is indeed a movement to actually promote a skill development and do both things. First, impact our institution with better programs, improvement in our curricula and the way that we provide our services, and also improve the technical level of our students. So for us, we really feel very proud to see David here, to see Emmanuel, to see Leonardo, to see our competitors that now they're having great opportunities. And also one of the good things is to see them go from big competitors and then to be experts and actually work in skills competition, and that really inspire other students. So it has been a great process, a process of learning, learning how to build our model, also how to build a process that can really impact our system, far from just make a competition like an event. So we are working on and consolidate this process, because we know that these are our first steps, and we are sure that we're going to grow and grow. And we're very happy to have you as a partner and as inspiration for us. So thank you very much. Thank you, HRD Korea. Thank you, Mr. Rio. We really appreciate your hard work. And be sure that we're going to use every second that you provide us and every knowledge that you share with us to improve the lives of Costa Rican people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Yeah, I know you always focus on why we doing this skills competition, the purpose of skills competition. I have learned from you a lot. So thank you. And we have last presenter. He has something interesting and very important topics. So let's hear from Mr. Thomas. You can share. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. So thank you, and I'm Thomas Mack from Macau. So today I would like to share about how we train our competitors when I was still expert, because now I'm skilled competition manager. That means I cannot involve with their training anymore. I have to overlook every competitor coming to the Skill 17 family.
Okay, you can share your screen. Thank you.
Does this work? With my...
Not yet. Yeah, you have. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's great.
So I was competitor during in 2003 in St. Gallen in Switzerland, and when I was there, I learned my first mistake that I'm going to share. I'm going to share 5 mistakes that we often see in competitions. And since then, I met all the fellows from the Skill 17, and I joined the Skill 17 family since 2003. And when I went back to become expert in 2009 until now. So let's make it short. I'll go through the mistakes I met in all the competitions. First is this was happened when I was competitor. I was too nervous in 2003, and it was a database PHP programming task. I forgot how to write the delete of the SQL statement. You know, just delete from tables where blah, 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 and it's okay. But I believe I got some keyword wrong there. And after 5 minutes of trying, I skipped it. So I work around it. I create a new column in the table called is deleted or trash, something like that. And to make it a true or false Boolean, so that I work around the deletion by using just the update statement. That means in competitions, we only test how we asked in the test project. So behind the scene, if you can use the alternative way to achieve what the test project asked, you still gain the points. And of course, afterward, you will learn again on this topic. But during the time constraint, you need to know any alternative methods to achieve the project. So if in case something went wrong, it may be you are coding. It may be the environment, whatever reasons, you don't have time to figure out the reasons. You just have time to work around it and do what the test project asked. Then I became expert and met all how other competitors made mistakes and lose marks. One of them is to it must be too nervous that the competitor when he created canvas in Photoshop, he wrongly used centimeters instead of pixels. So imagine that you are creating a canvas with 1,000 pixels width and 800 pixel height for a website, but instead you create it with centimeters unit. That means it will be a very large canvas that eats up all the memory in the computer. So the competitor complained about the computer is not working. But when we checked it, we know that it is about the unit problem. So what happened is it wasted the competitor around 50 minutes after he figured out that it is the wrong unit that makes the computer very slow. So the lesson learned from this is when something went wrong, you may create a checklist on all the steps that you produced and try to reproduce everything to see if you end up with the same result, or if any tiny configuration happened in the middle of your steps that make it wrong. So yeah, of course, if end up it is still everything is still the same, that maybe really the computer is not working, but reproducing the steps is one of the important things, instead of just sitting there and just think without trying. So the next steps, the next mistakes I met is the case sensitive issues. This happens, this is true every time when we have Windows workstation and Linux server. So one of the competitor have their table names in lowercase. Well, yes, in lowercase in his PHP part, but in the database in the server side it was in uppercase. So everything works in the local machine until the last minute when the competitor upload all the PHP files to server. The database connection won't work, and so the entire project failed to run. So it is either you gain all the marks because you do everything, or you gain 0 mark because of database connection fail. So this is the mismatch of workstation and server happened not only in competitions, but also in our real work. So the first thing I told my competitor is always check to have the configuration synchronized in both environments for the first in the first minute. Even in the familiarization day, that you have time to check all these configurations, do check all of them and find all the mismatches between the workstations and the server. Also for the and when during the competitions, if possible, work on the server side only every time, if possible, to avoid this kind of mismatch. And mistakes 4 is example 4 is to after the competitors have done the test project, implement that, we as experts, when we do the assessment, it is difficult for us to determine if it matches the wordings in the test project or not. So for example, the parallel effect, that when parallel means when you see the world in perspective aspect, you can see the things that is closer to you move faster than the things that is more away from you. And in some cases, they make the two objects half transparent, have half opacities. That means you cannot tell if which object is in front of which object. So we had a debate on whether it is a parallels or not. And what competitors can do is to avoid this kind of confusion to the experts when they do the marking. So to make it clear that when you do something, you are intentionally should do that the way you design, so the experts can assess it to determine if it is yes or no, instead of have a debate on whether it is yes or no, and then you may lose your mark because of this unclear and confusions. The last tips is to always don't make any changes on the last minute. Always. If I told my competitors to check everything in the last 5 minutes, make some mistakes, changes, fix in the last 4 to 3 minutes, and after that, don't do any changes. Things work on the server as is. If you find a tiny issues that you want to fix in the last minute, and if you fix it, fine. If you do the changes, but the save is incorrectly saved to the server, for example, only half of your modification are saved to server, or you wrongly passed a keystroke, another open PHP tag, or another closed PHP tag that make the code incorrect in the last seconds, then you won't have time to fix it again, and you will result in syntax error. That means failing all the projects. So don't make any changes in the last minute. Don't. If you find something wrong, let it be. You still gain some points. So this is how I told my competitors to avoid mistakes in skill competitions. During all the competitions I joined, no one gained the full marks. They may gain some points. They may gain 80% of points to become gold medal, or 70 something of points to become silver model or bronze model. So the competitions is a compass of how we work in real life, but we compass it into a week. We compass it into 3.5 days. So what we can do is to avoid as much mistakes as possible, because when you are the next people to make mistakes, you gain the gold, silver, bronze medal, or you gain the top 5. When you make lots of mistakes, you lose marks. So this is about everyone know how to implement the code at some point, but how correctly you can achieve it. Or I would say to my competitors, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be 90% of what we aim to. And if you deduct 10 marks, you still have 80% of the points, and it will make you good enough into the medallion list. And if it is and what we aim is the medallion list, because gold, silver, bronze depends on your opponents, depends on the other competitors, not depends on you. So what we as ourselves can do is do our best and to get into the top 10 list, and leave the other concerns to the other part. Any questions so far?
Any questions? Yes, what a great, wonderful. Yeah. Mr. Thomas was a competitor, and he was expert and deputy chief expert. Now he's skills competition manager. Only he can give us this kind of advice. Yeah.
Let me
Can you
continue. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing, since Marcelo couldn't make the presentation, but I've heard him presenting something similar. So I'll do his part as well, and to present how we match the training with the occupation standards. This is how when I was training the competitors, and I believe this is also how Marcelo was training his competitors that he demonstrated to me. So one important thing to know, even before we chose one competitors, that when we were still in early training, say we have 10 students there, we want to benchmark them on how they will do in the competitions. So that's to match the occupation standards. You can find the occupation standards from worldskills.org and find the skills, web technologies, scroll down to the bottom and download the technical descriptions. Inside the technical descriptions, you will find a tables named World Skills Occupational Standards. That is how we start the benchmark. So we will list all the marks there, and you will see that for each section there are percentages on how backend development, how content management system, front-end design, management, your files, their weight. And we all don't know what is the test project coming in the next competition. But for sure, the test project must fall into this presentation weight. So whatever test project it is asking, the weight of backend, the weight of front end, the weight of layout, they are all the same. And what we are going to test is almost the 1 year or 2 year old technologies that we already using in the industry now. We won't test something very new because we have to wait until the new technologies to become the mainstream to all the world. So what we know that what we are going to test must be something that what we are doing now, and the weight is there in these WSOS tables. So how we benchmark our students is to have the past test project from WorldSkills or a modification of past test project, which I encourage you to do that, because you can feel how we create test project by just modifying the previous one and change it into a new one for your competitors or your students to train. Then you can feel how we design the test project, and by doing the marking on the previous test project, you gain a 100 marks of that student. And in this 100%, you know that which part he is good at and which part he is not as good as the others. And not every sections have equal marks, so you have to pick, okay, we have logical parts and with both back end and front end that weight more than 50%. So most likely you will pick someone that has the best benchmark in one of your students. Or if you have chosen the competitor and you know the test project in C-2 or 3, and during these days, you can do a benchmark again to predict how well your competitors are going to do in the coming 3.5 days. And then what I was doing in 2013 is to, which he gained the silver medals, is to have every day's mark recorded. At that moment, we know the mark at the end of the day. If not, it is next morning of the day, we know the mark. So at least we know the mark one day before, and then we match this we will point with our prediction and see how many points we made mistakes, those mistakes, or how many next mistakes we made, so that we know that if we are still on track to the top 3, or at least still competitive in the top 5. And so we will have different strategy to, for example, to take the safer role, avoid more mistakes, but be less creative, or take the bold move to be more creative, but to may have more mistakes, and we adjust the strategy every night, every evening, by using the benchmark and comparing it to how we work. So this is how we change with occupational standards from the early days, from the preparation during the competitions, and with as a review after the competitions. That's all of my sharing, and hope that you find them useful. And please see if you have any questions for me.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you, thank you. I will pay you a favor in Shanghai with a big cock, not money. Okay, thank you. Do you have any comments or questions?
I just want to say thank you. It's very enlightening, very nice for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I will like to share this video because it's very important for my students to hear all those advices from Thomas.
Yes, you can find this video on YouTube, and I'll share the link of this video after this meeting. Thank you so much. So
I got a question.
Yes, yes.
I would like to make a question to Thomas regarding the work with the work skills occupational standards. How has been the experience in the Tibet system or with other institutions in terms to use the work skills occupational standard and not other standards? Because I guess it is a step by step make other institutions or educational institutions to use or to get used to the work skills international and occupational standards. So how has been this process for other partners or other institutions to understand and to work with this international standard?
Okay, so first we revise these occupational standards every 2 years when all the experts are gathering in the skill competitions in day 4 of 4+1, and then so this is a standard for a intersection of how we do our real projects all over the world in different cities. So this may not be everything you do in your real work in one part of the world, but this is the intersection that means every expert contribute to give comments, suggestions to make change to that, and then these occupational standards are also sent to different web design firms or studios in different cities to have their feedbacks. There will be a long survey, around 5 to 7 pages long, asking them in this technical description and particularly this table, which part you think is missing in your daily work, and which part you think it is not using in your daily work. And after their feedback from all the 7 continents, all the countries, we the World Skills organization gather the feedbacks and then do the suggestions, modification suggestions again before we release this test technical description. So but one problem that I will encourage everyone to, if you are working with industrial studio, to join this survey. The problem we faced is we lack of people to do this survey. So if you know someone who are operating these web studios, you can share me his or her email or name that I will pass to WorldSkill organization. Then in next time we will send this survey to them, because the more we gather feedbacks from them, the more this standard table will be realistic to everyone. So first, this is the assessment, the checking of how this table match the real standard in industry. And so as a training institute, following this table means that we are following what are commons in every cities. But from city to city, there are of course different. For example, some may use Git version control more. For example, some web studios may need to create video as well. Some studio may need more marketing skills, in-person skills. So in my point of view, is when we train our competitor, we will have both the WorldSkill standards and the local experience that we teach our students. Because if the WorldSkill occupational census is for the competitions, it's at the end, it is just a week of events. What we want to train is not a person that do well in only a week, but in their own career life. So we will mix our local experience with this and teach them both. For example, in Macau, we have to use, we have Chinese, we have English, we have Portuguese as the language for our website. In WorldSkills, we don't often ask to create multilingual websites, but in our real world, we do that every day. So we will teach them how to do that. Despite that, it is not part of the occupational standards. This is the cycle, how we train them and how this table get assessed by everyone.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas and Mr. Roy. Does anyone have comments or questions? Okay, yeah, I think we can have something similar events in the future to improve our skills competition or our industrial standards. Okay, thank you for everyone joining this meeting for a long time. This is the last time and it takes long. Thank you for everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Ru. Thank you.
Pura vida.
Pura
Thank
vida.
you.
Pura vida.
Yeah.
See you. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you.
Pura vida.
Pura vida. 감사합니다. Gracias.
감사합니다.